received a good education and I was trained to be a forester. And my father always taught me the famous line of Goethe. Es erben sich die Spitzenrechte wie eine ewige Krankheit fort. And that means humanity will always be beset by the forces of the privilege and the law, both the laws and the rights of individuals allocated to the rich privileged class will infect posterity for all generations. I bore this memory with me when I moved to the United States and settled as an immigrant in Chicago. I'm a ghost of a martyr. I was martyred in Chicago. I was hanged by the neck in 1887. As all martyrs do, I toured the airspace of the world, looking around the world desperately for the fulfillment of my cause. And May Day is celebrated in my name, in the name of the Haymarket martyrs. There were 4 of us who were hanged on that day. And in the great cities of Europe, I see red flags flowing through the main arteries, and I see cheering for the working people. May 1st was decided to be the day for the working people in 1884 by the American Labor Federation. And they set May 1st, 1886 as the day when which there would be an 8-hour day for all people. When I look around the world, I see red flags and the rights of workers trumpeted in all cities. In Mexico City especially, where I overheard a U.S. citizen being asked with admiration what she thought of her Haymarket heroes. And she was ashamed to say that no one, very, very few people in the United States had ever heard of Haymarket or the Haymarket martyrs. The rest of the world praises them and glorifies them, but in the United States they're practically unheard of. In the United States, May Day is a pagan celebration, a wonderful pagan celebration, but it was made a revolutionary holiday in 1886 in honor of the May Day martyrs. It was designated, Labor Day was designated in September in order to wipe out the workers' revolutionary connotations of May 1st. And then Ronald Reagan named May 1st Law Day. And by law, he means the laws which protect the rich against the interests of all working people who support them. And in this way, he obliterated May Day and its revolutionary, worker-oriented connotations. I'm here to tell you about Haymarket and what happened on May 4th, 1886. During the 1870s, conditions were becoming progressively worse in the United States in spite of advances made by industry and technology. Jobs were being eliminated. Creations of the worker, engines, different techniques which workers had created were being co-opted by the wealthy class, and the workers were made to produce but not to reap any of the benefits of production. This came to a crisis at the factory of International Harvester in Chicago, owned by the wealthy McCormick family. And a strike had been going on since January, and McCormick had brought in scabs in armored trucks to protect them, to get by the striking workers. And the workers on May 3rd were gathered outside the factory. And when the strikebreakers came out, they surged forward to confront them and acquaint them with labor conditions, which were desperate. less than $1 an hour. Wages were less than $1 an hour, and nobody could support them. I'm sorry, less than $1 a day, and no laborer could support themselves on a wage like that. A wedge of policemen broke in and started shooting and pushing the workers back, and several of the International Harvester workers were killed. So, I and my friends, Albert Parsons, George Fisher, decided that we would have a meeting the following day, and we called a meeting for the Central Square in Chicago, which is Haymarket Square. This meeting was designed to acquaint all workers with the conditions under which they were suffering, and to acquaint them with the importance of becoming educated. As you know, education is the key to advancement and to understanding one's own condition. 20 years before I was alive, it was a crime to help educate any black man. Black men were not allowed to have any education at all. Anybody who tried to teach a black man to read was considered a criminal and was arrested, because the patrician class knew that to prevent the workers and to prevent the working class from obtaining an education was the only way that they could preserve their privileges. So our doctrine was to provide education to the disinherited and to make them realize there was another way to live, that socialism, an organization of society, was something which allowed everybody education and didn't impose the rule of one tiny affluent class over the rest of humanity. Our demonstration in Haymarket Square began peacefully. It was so peaceful that the mayor himself left knowing that there would be no problem. As the last speaker was just finishing, a phalanx of policemen entered the square, armed to the teeth, and began forcefully driving the meeting away and telling them to go away. And just as I was stepping down off the wagon on which I had spoken, someone, and nobody has ever found out who, threw a bomb. The bomb exploded in the path of the policeman, and it killed one policeman and injured 7, who later died of their wounds. The police immediately pulled out their Gatling guns and their rifles, and they began shooting, and nobody knows how many people died that day, but almost 100 were taken to hospitals with wounds. The people in the meeting took some of their wounded away, of course, so they were never counted.
My progress on the sidewalk?
No, I'm not. There's 4 foot between me and the edge of the space.
Okay.
So you have plenty of room to
Were
walk.
arrested and charged with the crime of exploding a bomb in Haymarket Square. 2 of our members had never even been there. I was obviously up on the wagon, so that there was no